Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Hindash, and today's video is a very anticipated video because I did something like this a couple of years ago now. This is the return of my favorites series, and today's video is going to be about my favorite brushes. Now, to make it less complicated, I have so many brushes that I love, but this is what I would pack if I'm going to do a client for the first time. And basically these are my reliable brushes, my tried and true. I know they're not going to fail me, and I know that when I pack these brushes, they really elevate my makeup game. I feel like other brushes don't do what these brushes do. Obviously, I'm going to give you alternatives. There's not like one brush that I completely swear by. I feel like there are different types of brushes, but I'm talking more about the shape of the brush, the cut of the brush, and the material, if that makes sense. But I will be doing other videos breaking down different types of brushes that do different things. And one video that I'm really looking forward to is brushes that I use on myself that I don't use on other people. These are gonna be your perfect everyday brushes. They are gonna be, tried and true. They're gonna do the job. They're perfect to travel with. So let's get into these sets of brushes first. And of course, we have Timmy looking all cute and snoozy. Timmy has been a very good host for the intro, but now I need to focus on my brushes. Starting off with a predictable brush, this is the KVD number 25 brush. I talk about this all the time. I can't live without it. I have over 6 brushes of these just all around, just in case, I never know if it's going to be discontinued. I never know if I need a backup. This is a synthetic brush. So if you can see, it tapers, it pinches over here, and then it kind of fluffs out very slightly. It's not like a fluffy brush. It basically is, to me, an updated take on a very traditional foundation brush, the very old school ones. The fluff of this really makes it such a versatile brush. I blend out foundation with this. I can do concealer with this. I definitely use this only with liquids and creams. You could use it with powders, but liquids and creams, synthetic, it doesn't really absorb a lot of product. What I love about this brush is how evenly it distributes the product. It kind of creates an airbrushed finish. It blends it just the right amount. It doesn't take away too much. I love this brush. So if you've seen me use this, you basically know that I use it for foundation, and when there's still foundation on it after I'm done, I can go in with cream bronzer to really like melt everything in, and then do cream blush after. If I'm going for a very specific blush color, if I want it to be vibrant on its own and I don't want to blend it with the other tones, I will go with another brush, which I will show you after this. But my number one brush, I love it, I love it. There is a brush, however, that for me tops this brush for my personal use, but I will talk about that in another video because those are brushes that I use on myself that I don't pack for clients. Now, I also want to talk about alternative foundation brushes that I also really love. I feel like these two are very similar. One is high-end, one is drugstore. This is the NYX 37 brush. It is such an amazing brush. Very dense, blends out foundation like a dream. It creates a very airbrushed, buffed in finish, very even. I love this brush. This is an incredible brush. Sometimes I'll have clients that are on the oilier side and with a bit more skin texture, and I do like to use brushes like these. I feel like they really kind of push product into the skin in a very light way, and they really create this kind of layer that especially if you feel like your skin eats up makeup, you know what I mean, these types of brushes are great to lay down a very even thin coverage, and you can stipple it on areas that you have more texture, you have more scarring. I love these brushes for that. The other brush is Hourglass. I don't have a name here, but I will put everything in the description box. And I love this for travel too because it's quite short. I've also used this to do a bit of body makeup if I really want to condense my kit because it doubles for a bit of everything. You can do cream bronzer, you can do cream blush. They're very versatile brushes. Now moving on to my alternative cream brushes. If I want to keep the foundation brush quite seamless, I don't want to mix in other colors because I might be using this again for touch-ups here and there. I will be packing something like these two. The first brush that I'll talk about is more for bronzer and blush. This has kind of a fluffy angled application, but it's so beautiful. I really, really love this brush. It is the Sephora number 47 Pro Foundation brush. Of course, you can use this for foundation, it'll apply it beautifully, but I really like the tapered edge. If you can see, it does do the same thing as the KVD brush, where it has that same taper. And this would be great for under the eyes too, but it will give you more of a fuller coverage look because of how big it is. So because of the shape of it, I love it to bronze the forehead, really get into that hairline, do the cheeks, do the jaw. It is fluffy, it's precise. It's such a great brush. Another one of my all-time favorite brushes is the MAC 109S. This is also synthetic. I really love it for concealer. I love it for cream blush. I mainly use it for cream blush, to be honest, but I have done foundation with this. It might take a bit longer if you're doing like a full foundation coverage, but if you are doing a more targeted finish, so just around the nose, a bit around the eyes, this is an amazing brush that will allow you that precision and will hold back on making you look overdone if you want more of a everyday finish. I also love using this with the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, that cream concealer. I feel like this really blends it and buffs it out so beautifully, and you can stipple it on for targeted application if you have discoloration, if you have scars. This is a great brush. Moving on to powders, I'm going to be talking about the kind of do-it-all powder brushes. These are both from Wayne Goss. I feel like they're the same brush, but the hairs are different. This I feel is softer. This is like always in my kit. I love this brush. It doesn't have a name, but this one is number 1. So I feel like this is the number 1, maybe a holiday edition. So what I love using these brushes for, well, one of them, is to do powder blush. These are both natural hair brushes. They really pick up powder beautifully. They can go on intense, they can go on very sheer. I know this will work on every single client and depending on whatever preference they want. I also use these for bronzer if I want to just pack in 2 brushes for powder and have them kind of do everything. But mainly I love these for blushes. I feel like as soon as you apply blush with this, it's already blended, it's already done, and it kind of takes, makes my job easier. These are my alternative blush brushes that I also love. The first one is the MAC 129 brush. Now, this is a very scratchy brush. She is scratchy, but you know what? I love how this picks up product. It really picks up an amazing amount of product and it buffs out beautifully. It applies blush beautifully, especially if you have these shimmer blushes. These very hard pressed shimmer blushes that I feel like some brushes don't really get the product off. This does, and it's amazing to buff out more glowy products. Love this brush. A new addition to my kit, and also a brush that I feel like picks up product beautifully, is the Sonia G. This is the Cheek Pro brush, and I love the size of it. If you feel like you have a smaller face or you want more of a detailed application, this brush will do a lot for you. You can do contour, you can do blush, you can do bronzer, you can do a glow product. It's a beautiful, beautiful brush. It's also natural hair, same as the previous MAC one. A synthetic version that I love is the MAC 129S. Now this is supposed to be the synthetic version of this. They are quite different. Obviously the natural hair one fluffs out more. I still do really love this one. I feel like it also picks up on these harder to pick up shimmery blushes and highlighters really beautifully. I use them with a lot of these glowy products, and I do like it for other like bronzers and powder blushes, but I like it more for shimmers. Next, we have bronzer brushes. I feel like I end up using these the least out of all my brushes, but I still do end up using them. But in a pinch, I will use my blush brushes to do a bit of bronzing towards the end, because I do most of my bronzing with creams as well. My first choice would be a brush like this. This is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer blush. It is the bronzer and blusher. I love the shape of this. This is what I look for when I look for a bronzing brush. Very fluffy, quite squared off at the edge. It really distributes product beautifully. It gets that forehead really easily. I don't want to spend a lot of time adding bronzer all over. And the other reason why I want a bigger brush is I want an even finish. So I don't want a patchy application. The other two that I absolutely love as well is the My Kitco number 0.12. This is the My Flat Powder. Again, it pinches, it is quite squared off, it gets that powder beautifully. I think this is synthetic, I could be wrong. It's kind of an in-between a bronzer brush and a blush brush, so very versatile. I could just pack this on its own and do all of the powders. On the more luxury side, we have the HAKUHODO. This is the G505, beautiful brush. I picked this up in different sizes. Picks up product insanely well. This will really make your makeup last so much longer because you need like one dip and you can do a full face. I love these brushes. They are quite the investment and they last beautifully. I've had a lot of HAKUHODO brushes over the years and I adore every single one of them. Now that we've finished with the majority of the face brushes, we can dive more into the eyes. I always have to pack a brush like this. These are all synthetics and I use them mainly for my color fluids to kind of set the base on the eyes. I don't want something that's going to, separate and eat up the product. And if I'm working with my color fluids, they're very intense and, they're extremely long wearing. So I want to apply them with a fluffier, more dense brush that is synthetic. That is the key. These all perform exactly the same, so take your pick. This is the My Kitco 1.27S, my soft blender brush. What I love about this brush is that it's synthetic, it tapers, and it has enough length to allow me to really buff and blend out that eyeshadow base all over the eyes. An alternative, if you have smaller eyes, I love this one. This is the Sigma Detail Blending E27 brush. Again, same exact shape, just much smaller. I also really like this if I'm doing creams in just a targeted placement, so just on the eyelid. If you want to do a cut crease, if that's your thing, if you want to just buff out the edges of a cream shadow, this is perfect. And an alternative for the My Kitco one, this I equally pack all the time with me. This is the MAC 217S. It's basically the same thing. They do the exact same thing. It's either or for me. I love both. Now, after I've done that cream or eyeshadow base, then I want to go in with a layer to kind of set everything and be the groundwork for all my blending. This will usually be one of these three brushes or all of these brushes. The first brush that I'll talk about is the My Kitco. I love this brush because I use it to set, I use it to buff, to soften the edge towards the end. I use it to create detailed work. It's an amazing brush. This is My Tapered Crease 1.12. As you can see, it is a crease brush. It comes to a tapered tip, but it is quite fluffy. It's quite big. So it's such a good brush. After I'm done with my color fluids, I really like to use kind of a translucent shade just all over to set everything. And then I also love to do my groundwork in the crease. So like a medium brown, whatever that color is, I love to start buffing it from the outer corner to the crease. Such a versatile brush. Another brush that I absolutely adore is the SEPHORA. This is the Pro Blending Large 27. I really like that. Again, it's on the rougher side. It's not super soft, but the blend, the taper of this brush and the fluff of this brush really allows me to create an airbrushed, diffused finish all around the eyeshadow edges. This will really make a difference in how your eyeshadow looks. I love this brush and I love it for an all over color. I love it in the crease for crease work. If you feel like you've done a bit of a harsher color, this will blend it out. So good. Another brush or a type of brush that I will always keep in my kit is something like the MAC 239 brush. For this, to be honest, I usually keep a natural hair brush in this shape because I love it to pack on color. If I really want to brighten up the eyelid, if I want to add a certain shimmer, this picks it up beautifully and it lays it down beautifully. So I know I can always rely on a brush like this to bump up that color. It's so smooth, so flawless. Look for any type of brush that basically has this packer brush shape. Love. The next set of brushes have kind of the same shape. They are fluffy and therefore blending. But instead of something like the My Kitco one where it really tapers and gives you that more of a precise blend, these give you this all over effortless diffused blend if you want a wash of color. The one that's been in my kit for years is the Makeup Forever 242 brush. I love this brush. It's synthetic, it's very versatile. I can use it to do concealer if I want to do like touch-ups, targeted applications. I use this for powder, obviously in the crease. You can very lightly with a translucent powder just do very targeted setting work. Such a good brush. A new one to my kit, and it really does what the Makeup Forever does, but this is more on the fluffier side. It is the Rose and Ben E29 brush. Again, amazing for creams, amazing for powder, a versatile, fluffy blending brush. Now, this is a type of brush that I always have just in case I want to do really detailed blending work. If I'm doing more of that defined crease, that lifted eye look. This is the My Kitco My Defined Crease SS11. By the way, his entire signature synthetics line, I think he has a set. It's beautiful. I love each and every one of those brushes. But again, like I said, if you've done that detailed crease and you want to buff out the edges very slightly without disrupting the entire shape, a brush like this, very small, very tapered, is your brush to go. Now moving on to more detailed color work on the eyes for eyeshadow. These are more of the, again, blending brushes, packer brushes. This is where I would start, creating the entire eye look. The first one that I love, this type of brush is always in my kit. I always have to have a brush like this. And this is from Refer. This is the number 13. Again, for that detailed crease work, or if you have smaller eyes, if you have hooded eyelids, this will create amazing transition tones. This will define the outer crease, the outer corners. It will do everything. I love this type of brush because it's versatile and it will work on every single eye shape, especially if you have smaller eyes. Another brush that I feel like I don't have dupes of in my collection is the Wayne Goss. This is the number 6. Now, what's special about this brush is that it's super soft. It is a natural hair brush, but it is very, very soft and tapered and almost like a flat brush. What I like about this is on more mature eyelids, on mature eyes in general, I like to grab a bit of shimmer with this and just sweep it across the lids because it will not deposit a lot of color. It will kind of give you this wash of shimmer. It creates like a satin sparkle. This is mainly what I use it for, just on the lid, or if I want to brighten up or warm up a look. So I will add a tiny bit of like a warmer orange eyeshadow, for example, and tap it all over the lid. It will not deposit a lot. It will just kind of balance out a color tone. The Ray Morris number 8 brush, it's a beautiful brush. It is on the smaller side. It is tapered. It comes down to quite a point. It's amazing to blend out crease work, to create sharper, more defined edges that you can blend at the same time. So it kind of does a lot of things in one. It has a capacity to pick up color beautifully. It can pick up pretty much any texture. I really love this brush, and Ray Morris makes amazing, incredible brushes. And then lastly, if I'm doing something more complicated, I will pack another brush that resembles this My Kitco brush that does everything. This is the Wayne Goss number 4. Again, natural hair. So if I'm going in with a completely different color, if I want to go in with a cream beige to kind of sculpt around and diffuse, I will pack another brush of the same type. And I will do this quite often with a lot of my eye brushes. I always want to have an extra. Okay, these brushes are kind of the same family, but not. These I love for creating smoke all around the eyes, lower lashes, shimmer in the inner corners, just diffusing that tight-lined shadow. The first one is a Wayne Goss number 7 brush. I love this brush. I don't know if you can still get it, but it is on the chunkier side. It is fluffy, it is soft, and it will blend everything out quite easily. But if I want a more detailed application, this is the Ray Morris number 7.6. A bit on the longer side and definitely a bit smaller. Great for creams as well. I love blending cream pencils with this, and inner corner highlight does everything as well. The last alternative, if you want something fluffier, and it can double as into the crease, all over eyes, kind of like an all-in-one, it does a bit more than these. This is the My Kitco 1.30 brush, and it is the small blending brush. It's so good. Again, I really love to really diffuse around the edges, to really get into that detailed crease work. It does a lot. These are some of my all-time favorite brushes because they allow me to really get into that liner, to really map out the shape of the eye look that I'm going for. I use these a lot with cream liners and pencils So you might know that this is the brush that I cannot stop talking about. I can't let go of this brush. I can't do makeup without this brush. It is such a staple in my everyday makeup life. This is the MAC 228S brush. I have a lot of them. I have some that are falling apart. So I really like to hold on and treasure these brushes. And whenever I find them in MAC stores, which is not often, I pick them up. This is the brush that I will use to blend out my liner and to really create that lifted shape and my signature eye look. I use it to blend that liner, the cream, into the crease. I can use this with my color fluids to just like map out the shape of the eye that I'm going for. I mean, I won't talk a lot about this brush because you know how much I love this brush and how much I use it. It's in every single video of mine. I feel like this brush comes close, but it is that tapered edge, so it will give you more of a sharper look, whereas that one can diffuse and fluff out and just look airbrushed. This is the Ray Morris number 9.1. What I love about this brush is it's synthetic, and look at how tight and tiny that crisp tip is. It's such a good brush. It will give you intense definition into the lower lash line. It will diffuse products. A great brush. The other two pencil brushes that I like to go in after I've done the cream work with those brushes and to really intensify the shadow is the Goss number 5 brush, just a pencil brush, and the HAKUHODO B533. This is basically a jumbo size of the standard pencil brush and super soft, really grabs onto product beautifully. I love these brushes. They're always in my kit. For a highlighter brush, this is basically the only brush that I'll pack. This is the Goss number 4 brush. I love that it tapers to an edge. It's fluffy. You can do a fuller application or you can do that very tight highlight application on the nose, on the Cupid's bow. I love this brush. Beautiful, versatile. For detailed concealer brushes, these are always with me. Starting off with the My Kitco My Flat Blender 1.28 brush. It's a fluffy synthetic. It's great for the under eyes. I love this with liquids, with correctors, with creams. It really does apply and diffuse and buff out so beautifully. Great for touch-ups and detailed applications all over. For breakouts or targeted applications, something very pinpointy, very precise. Again, the My Kitco My Blending Shadow Mini 1.32. Think of this as the same shape as this, just much more tiny. So really great to kind of dot, and it kind of diffuses it already for you. And of course, you can do a bit of circular motions. Such a good brush. Now, this type of brush has been a lifesaver for me because it's such a big angled brush, and I use it to clean around the lip line. So you can literally do like one line down and it's already done. It covers from nostril to lip for the most part. It is the My Kitco My Bold Brow Brush 2.2. I don't use it for brows. Again, load this brush up with a bit of concealer and do the edge of the lip all the way down. Create such a clean line that doesn't look too harsh because it covers a great surface area and blends it for you. This has been a lifesaver for me when I'm touching up clients in between shoots, in between filming, whatever it is. It's just easy to get in there and leave. The next set of brushes are lips. Now, this is fairly straightforward. I don't have a specific type of lip brush that I love, but I will show you more of the classics. This is the Refer 21 brush, just a classic lip brush that I know will do. It'll get the job done. Synthetic, and you can use this for concealer if you want, but I do love this shape for lips. Another one that's special for me, and I'll always pack something like this, is the Sigma Shader Lid Brush E56. It is synthetic, it is quite thin, but it is a longer brush that comes to a lip brush point. I don't know how this is for the eyes, but you can get lips done quite easily and quickly with this because it does a big swoop and it's quite tight, so you can get that detailed application. I love this brush. Now, this I love for applying a lip mask, lip gloss, any lip product. It is the Sigma Spatula Brush 502, SO2, I think. It's basically just a silicone tip, so it's very easy to clean. I can just do an alcohol wipe or a spray with this. I don't have to use cotton buds or different things. It's just easy getting in there and clean it after. These three brushes I call kind of my finishing eye brushes because you have a standard eyeliner brush. This is the Suva 610 brush. It's such a great brush. I've used this basically on all my color fluid campaign photos. It creates such a crisp line. It kind of has that longer bristles that create an easy wing for you, and it gets pretty sharp, and I love this. For lashes, this is the HAKUHODO 1.25 brush. It is a fan brush for your lashes. I use this to get into the lower lashes, load it up with mascara, so easy, or to push up a bit of mascara into fake lashes or individual lashes and kind of melts and merges everything together. For an eyebrow brush, I'm not very picky because I don't do a lot of powders in the brows, and if I do, it's just a very light application. This is the Anastasia number 14 brush. I think this brush is great. It's a great shape, it's tight, it's quite precise and sharp. So if I do want to do those hair strokes with the powder, I can with this. And yeah, I find that this is one of the best ones that I've tried. To set the face in the end, or for powder touch-ups throughout the day, throughout the shoot, I love these two brushes. This is the HAKUHODO My Angled Highlighter SS6. Look at this brush. I think this brush is genius. It really does create this amazing shape for really packing on powder or a very light application. It can really like highlight certain angles. I love this brush. I love it for touch-ups, to blot. I just press it into the skin. This brush as well, it kind of mimics that KVD brush, but it's a natural hair, very fluffy, very light, delicate. This is the Goss. I don't have a name for this. It probably rubbed off, but I think it's one of his limited edition ones. I'm not too sure. Again, I love this for powder just underneath. Creates a very fine, detailed application. Very airbrushed, very soft. All right, last but not least, I always have body brushes on me because sometimes I need to do an all-over moisturizer. Sometimes I need to do my little mix of a body luminizer, a bit of a body glow. So these have to be in my kit. Well, one of them. The first brush that I always pack because of the size of it, it's very compact. I usually put it in with my Beauty Blender case. This is the Fenty Beauty 160 face and body brush. I love this brush. They did such a good job because the way it distributes product so evenly, it has that bit of an angle, so you really get into all the corners. I mean, there's not much to say about this brush, but it is one of the best body brushes that I have found. The other alternative brush is the Sephora Pro Bronzer 48. Again, very even application. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want it to kind of gather in one spot or not diffuse the bronzer or the body glow or the moisturizer evenly. These two brushes really are the best body brushes that I've tried. And finally, I always have my little triangle puff with me at all times because I don't want to be touching a client's face. This stays on my pinky. I can rest this wherever I'm working on. And I, of course, use this for touch-ups, for powder, as I'm doing lips to really brighten areas. And I just get these packs on Amazon. And of course, the Beauty Blender. I am a Beauty Blender fan. I don't like any other beauty sponges. I mean, I'll say it. I can tell the difference. And it's just my preference. I mean, if you find other sponges that you love, you can use whatever you want. I just find that I can't replace a Beauty Blender personally, and it is my go-to. I will use it to blend out concealer. I will use it to do whatever I need to do. I can really do everything with it. But mainly I do use it to kind of soften up the overall application towards the end or in between my steps. So this wraps up my favorite brushes part 1. Again, these are brushes that are tried and true. I will pack them to new clients, to celebrities. I know these will get the job done and do even more. I see a difference in my makeup application and the way I work with these brushes. So I really hope this was helpful for you. And of course, I'm still filming these, so if you have any suggestions for what type of brush videos I should do, please let me know. I would love to give you different alternatives on different types of brushes and methods, but I think the one that I'm gonna be doing on my personal favorites that I use on myself and not on clients is gonna be an interesting one for personal individual brushes. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.